For Halloween, I decided to do some easy, you have around the house everyday makeup. I think that was my favorite thing about Halloween. I grew up with very little, and so like whenever Halloween came around, I just grabbed a bunch of random stuff, threw it together, and that was my Halloween costume. I think when I was a baby, my mom used the same like Halloween costume like until I literally grew out of it. And then when I got older, it was just like I have makeup, we're good, we could still go out, we could still have fun. So here's some easy ideas for you to play around with, and hopefully you can get through Halloween without spending 80, 90, 100 bucks on a costume if you don't have the means to do that, and still go out, have a great time. So yeah, this is me barefaced. I just woke up and we're going to have some fun. So stay tuned. This is the product list that I use in this video. I have toilet paper for artificial skin. I have eyelash glue to adhere the skin, as well as these fingernail extensions, and that is to make fake teeth and to color the teeth, to give it a little bit of a dirty, grimy look. I put little streaks of acrylic glue onto the teeth. I have a cheap gray eyeliner pencil, and that's to make veins, and you could use it for eyeliner, whatever you want to do. I have white face powder. However, if you cannot find a white face powder, white eyeshadow will work just fine. You could use any type of white eyeshadow. I prefer a matte. Unless you want like kind of a sparkly look, then you could do a like pearlescent, but I would suggest doing a white flat matte eyeshadow if you're going to use an eyeshadow. I have CoverGirl foundation, a loose CoverGirl translucent powder, a cheap pink blush. I have an Elves eye makeup palette with all the different eye colors, but primarily I use the greens and the yellow in this palette, and that was pretty much all I used. You can see I used the green down here. I used a little bit of yellow, but other than that, I kept with these. This was a Dollar General dollar eye makeup palette. I have a cheap gray, slightly darker gray and black makeup palette that was really cheap from the dollar store as well. I think this is e.l.f. as well, but it is a eyebrow palette, and I use that to darken up my eyebrows. To do like red bloody things and whatnot, I have a cheap red eyeliner pencil. I have, this was $1 at the dollar store, and it's just a lip gloss. And if you have it, you could use some artificial blood, but that isn't 100% necessary. As long as you have these two, you could build it up to make it look like fake blood. I have this palette, which I didn't use this, but it is a good alternative. Say if you want to make bruising, you can mix it with this and a little bit of yellow around these two colors to make bruises if you don't have like this big palette. So you don't even really need this. All you need is specific little colors that you want to use to do that. So this was, I think, 20 bucks. However, you don't even need that. All you need is some cheap dollar store eyeshadows, and you should be fine. I'm trying to keep this reasonable, and most of the stuff, a lot of girls already have this kind of stuff, or grandmothers or friends, and you could just pile together and come up with some really cute, authentic, or scary looks. And then I used brushes. If you're going to splurge on anything, I would just do a cheap bunch of just makeup brushes. Sorry, I can't speak. And these guys were super cheap off of Amazon, the purple ones. These two are paint brushes, actually. So if you're going to splurge on anything, I definitely would do it with your brushes. And this one is, like, I think this was pretty cheap as well. I don't even know who made it. That's how cheap it is. So this one's really good for fluffing out your lines and just kind of making things look a little bit smoother. So this is all drugstore bought things or things you can find at Walmart, Target. Super cheap, very affordable, and on with the makeup. Also, guys, I forgot to mention that you might want some oatmeal or some cornflakes, some type of thin, flaky cereal, because that will help you make scabs, scars, warts, that kind of thing. And you'll see it at the end when I'm doing my last makeup. First, I'm going to start off by putting on a foundation. And then after I put on my foundation, I'm going to do a translucent powder, followed by some white powder or eyeshadow, whatever you have. And this will help give you that nice Victorian look, which I thought was interesting that Victorians actually tried to look like they were recently deceased. I thought that was bizarre. After that, I'm going to go in with a purplish brown color, and I'm going to put this underneath my eyes. If you could only find purple, that is fine. I would just build it up nice and light. And as you do that, then you could get the look that you want without having any harsh lines. After this, I went ahead and had my eyebrow makeup, and I used an angled brush to give myself a cat eye. You could also do this with an eyeliner, liquid, or the stick, whatever you decide. After that, I added a little bit into my eyebrows to darken them slightly, and I brushed them out. Then I took a dark gray, and I put that in the hollows of my cheeks and on my temples. And that was to give me that gaunt, sunken in look that a lot of creatures from the night have. And I suggest building that up slowly as well. After this, I put on a red lip. With the red lip and the cat eye, you could pull off many different looks. You have Morticia, you have Elvira, you could do 50s pinup. If you do different things in this video, mix it up, you could come up with several different looks. I'm just trying to give you a base idea, and then you can mix and match it however you want. And I don't look as pale as I really am in real life in this because the lights are kind of washing me out. But I added a little blood at the end to give it that vampire look. Now I'm adding a green eyeshadow, and I'm kind of building it up. If I was doing this as an original look instead of adding onto a costume that I already did, I would do this first after my foundation and then add the eye and the lip. But because I just went through one makeup idea to the next, I just placed it around the makeup that I had already put on earlier. This is really good. You could do any type of eyeshadow color. I could do purple and do Ursula. You could do Sally and do patches. Many different looks with this. Now I'm putting in some more cheek definition. If I were to do this again, I probably would have built this up a little slower so it looked a little less chalky. And then I also added a little bit more to my temple. Next, I'm going to add a basic pink blush and bring out my cheeks, and I'm going to slowly blend that in. And this is a good example as to why you want to put your colors on and slowly build them up, because then it gives you a smoother look. Right now I'm adding some definition to my nose and my eye area, and I'm showing you how you could add stitches on. I put on a red wig because it kind of reminded me of that secretary from Beetlejuice. So I thought that would be a great look. And then if you had one of those silicone chokers that made it look like there was blood, or you could actually add the gash yourself and add fake blood, that'd be a great Halloween costume as well. Next, moving on, I am adding some red under my eyes. And this will give you that strung out, kind of dead bloodshot eye look. This is good for anybody that wants to look like they're sick or infected. Then I'm adding in veins. This would also be good for that pale look because this would be great for vampires. So you could just mix and match all these ideas and hopefully you'll come up with an amazing Halloween costume on a budget. I'm just very lightly dragging it across my skin, and it's giving me that deep vein infected look. If you also wanted to look like you were part of Stranger Things, I think at one point he had a bunch of black veins all over him like this. So that's another idea that you could use. After I was done with the veins, I went ahead and darkened the circles around my eyes. I really wanted to have that deep bruised look, as if the blood was puddling in my skin. Then I went around and added some darker spots around my nose and on my cheeks and around my mouth to kind of give that decaying dead look. I took some regular foundation and I used that to whiten out my lips, and then I put translucent powder on top of that, and then I added a little bit of the white powder to even make it look more pale. And then I took some darker eyeshadow and tapped it on my lips to kind of give it that purple lack of oxygen look to my lips. And now I'm taking red lip gloss, and it kind of gives that oozy look around the eyes. However, I was very careful not to get that in my eye. I used the red lip liner to go closer to my eye, but I kept the lip gloss quite a distance away from my eye so it didn't get into it. Now I'm adding these little tiny circles where it's darker on one side and then kind of fades off to the other side. And what that does, it kind of gives it that pitted hole look. And then I'm adding little drops of red lip gloss to that to make it look like it's raw. I had taken chunks out of my skin. This is really good if you have those fake maggots and worms and stuff, if you wanted to add gross little pieces to that, or just fun little things that you want to have popping out of your skin. You could even take rubber earthworms. I've seen those down at the dollar store, and cut them up into little pieces and have those coming out of your skin. You could do branches, all sorts of fun little things. As long as it's going to be able to stick to your face and it's light, you could do it. Now I'm taking some eyelash glue and I'm using it to stick on pieces of oatmeal into my face. This is a very cheap and effective way to give yourself scabs, scarring. You can put this on your nose to make yourself look like a witch. And if you wanted to, you could even take little pieces of hair and glue that on top of this after you put makeup on it to make it look brown to give you warts. So there's a lot of things you could do with this. Kellogg's cereal is really good for this. Just general oatmeal. You could do old fashioned. You could do what I did was Quick Oats. It is a cheap and very easy way to give yourself gross little imperfections on your skin. Now I'm just basically taking some eyeshadow and I'm using that to color the oats. I think I also put a little bit of foundation on there to give it some tackiness and skin color. And you just basically build up the color until you're happy with the way it looks. Now I'm adding a tinge of green in certain areas. It kind of gives that illusion of bruising. And I'm also touching my skin with the red lip liner to kind of add pulling of blood. This is a fake nail that I cut and made jagged, and then I took acrylic paint, which I know I said acrylic glue earlier. I was just not thinking right. But I took acrylic paint and streaked it really lightly on these to make teeth. And I stuck it on with eyelash glue. Just make sure you don't get this into your mouth. Another thing that you might be aware of is if you're allergic to latex, I do believe that it's latex glue. I could be wrong about that, but if you do have a latex allergy, just be careful and use eyelash glue that won't irritate your skin and cause you to have an allergic reaction. Now I'm taking a black eyeshadow and I'm giving the illusion of there being a hollow slice part of my cheek. Now I'm taking eyelash glue and I'm putting it above the teeth. This is just simple toilet paper and I am putting the glue on and folding it over to give the illusion of loose skin. I do this on the top and the bottom. Anywhere that you want it to look like your skin is torn open, this is a very cheap and effective way to get that illusion. You could also do this on the neck and anywhere that you want it to look like there's a gash. So for the last one, when I said the Beetlejuice secretary, if you wanted to do that look, you could also do this on the neck and then follow the following steps and it would give you that look. Now I'm taking some foundation and I am adding that into the toilet paper. It just basically brings it back to skin tone. And if you have little white specks, that's okay because a lot of times when the skin is pulled away from the flesh, it has a paler color because it's no longer receiving blood. But you could also darken it up, as you see I will be doing here soon. I'm adding more lip gloss to add that gelled blood look, and I'm taking the brush that I was using with the darker eyeshadow, and it basically is mixing together for me to add this nice dark purplish bruised color. So sometimes not cleaning your brushes could work in your favor. Adding a dark color to the lips can often make it look like it's been bruised. And as I go along, I'm just kind of adding color where I feel like it needs it. So my forehead was pretty plain, so now I'm going in and giving it some bruising and some colors to show that the blood was pooling on the skin. I'm following through by adding more eyeshadow to the other pieces of tissue paper that I had glued to my face to add that loose skin. Now I'm adding some blood in between the teeth where the gash would be. If this is all you had, I would basically add the lip gloss in, and you could also add some darker eyeshadow to it, and it would darken it up, but it would still look raw, and that would give you that nice bloody gashed look. I thought my nose was a little plain, so I decided to add some more scabbing. So I added some eyelash glue, some oatmeal, some lip gloss, and now I'm adding some eyeshadow to kind of darken it up a little bit more. And because I had some, I went ahead and added some fake blood into the gash. And I think it adds a really good effect. If you have that vampire blood and it's super fluorescent red, a lot of times if you take some darker eyeshadow and mix it together, whether it's purple or black, and just slowly add the two together, it'll give you this more natural colored blood look as opposed to that fluorescent bright red look. I'm going through and adding touches of blood anywhere that I have scabs or holes. And now I'm going through where all the bruising is at and adding a little extra fake blood in there. If you have dark hair, you could add blood into the hairline like I am doing. However, if you bleach your hair, I would avoid doing this. It can stain your blonde hair. I think I look great.